Welcome back to the channel. In today's aviation recap, there's a lot for me to cover, so let me jump right into it. Spirit Airlines is making changes to deliveries as they continue to struggle. There are updates to Airbus's orders and deliveries. And lastly, I move to Norse Atlantic Airways, who have some pretty big improvements that they've revealed. But let's begin with Spirit, who have announced several adjustments to their future outlook as they battle persistent Pratt and Whitney engine difficulties and also other matters. As part of the reshuffle, the airline has unveiled plans to defer the delivery of future Airbus aircraft that were poised to play an integral role in the company's short-term fleet renewal and also growth efforts. The adjustments are for all aircraft that are coming from Airbus that were scheduled to be delivered in the period of Q2 through to the end of 2026. These aircraft have been deferred to 2030 to 2031. This considerable, therefore, deferral also does not include the direct lease of aircraft that are scheduled for delivery in the upcoming quarters and future years. Spirit adds that through this agreement with Airbus, its overall liquidity position is set to improve substantially by USD 340 million over the following 2-year period. The order adjustment, or should I say delivery adjustment, is viewed as an essential step in Spirit's long-winded plan to reach profitability and strengthen its long-term outlook, which it ultimately has lacked in recent years. Remember, there's been a lot of discussion about just how Spirit Airlines can turn its business model into a profitable one, as ultimately it can't sustain making losses for many more years. Something needs to give. Spirit adds that the delayed arrival of new aircraft will also allow them to hit the reset button and focus more on core aspects of the airline that have noticeably failed in recent years and have obviously been detrimental to their performance. So for all intensive purposes, it certainly looks like the airline is doing its very best to try and turn around its fortunes, and slowing down the growth of new aircraft arriving onto the scene is considered an essential step in the right direction. But obviously, this doesn't just all come about because they're trying to change their ways. There are also very valid problems involving the Pratt and Whitney engine saga, among much more. And a word that has typically not been seen since the height of the pandemic, and a word that obviously also ushers awful memories for those in our industry, is that of furlough. Spirit Airlines has unveiled that effective September 1 of this year, it'll furlough approximately 260 pilots. The two primary reasons, however, that have been cited include, as I've been touching on, the most recent aircraft delivery deferrals, but notably it harks back to the ongoing Pratt and Whitney engine problems that are impacting Airbus aircraft and are forcing them to be grounded right around the world. It's not just limited to Spirit. Specifically, Spirit says that the Pratt and Whitney saga relates to the engine availability for the GTF engines. Spirit is hardly, like I said, the only airline that is seeing a widespread usage issue, but they're notably one of the first to announce furloughing as a response. Spirit and Pratt and Whitney recently reached a compensation agreement regarding the difficulties, which should improve liquidity over the term of this latest coming together. You can let me know your thoughts on the deferral and the furloughing down below. Let's move over to Norse Atlantic Airways, a bit of a break from the bleak news, and the airline is celebrating a successful end to the winter season as they see significant improvements year over year across several key business areas. Notably, the carrier massively improved its load factor across the season, and in March it saw a 22 percentage point increase to 82% year over year. In March alone, an impressive 324 flights were offered, including 46 charter flights. This represented a 45% increase. Norse says that 73% of its flights arrived within 15 minutes of their scheduled arrival time. However, Norse says one of the more standout features was the successful completion rate of services, which actually stood at 100% for March. Norse highlighted that the passengers carried and load factors, which they indicated in their March 2024 results, was better than the previous year, with 85,000 passengers carried in March, up a staggering, wait for it, 103% over March 2023. The charter market was also another massive success, highlighted at least by the CEO and founder of Norse. The company attempted to navigate the turbulent winter period by making its aircraft available for other missions. The 46 total charter flights represented the highest in a month since the airline launched operations several years ago. Additionally, with load factors climbing, Norse is positioned well to meet summer demand from June through to the early stages of October, which is typically their best performing months as it aligns with the summer season. In the coming months, Norse says it'll build on the positive growth in March, with the summer schedule expected to be busy. 12 aircraft will be operated at the height of the peak months. This will result in substantial increases in passengers carried, among much more. It'll be interesting to see how the airline performs in terms of load factor and punctuality as it sees an increase in the flights it is offering. And as it operates exclusively with the 787, they'll use this aircraft to their advantage to reach more markets with more flights. On to the final story in today's proceedings. Airbus has reported a considerable jump in deliveries for the first quarter of 2024. Total deliveries jumped 12% year over year. During the first quarter, the manufacturer says it successfully delivered 142 planes. This was up as well from the troubled Boeing, who only managed 83. I will cover their reports in the next few videos. The deliveries, at least for Airbus, included 128 single-aisle planes. 7 deliveries were registered for the A330 series, and no shock horror here, but they were for all the A330-900. And then we had 7 recorded for the A350 family. In March, Airbus said 63 deliveries were made to 32 customers, with gross orders totaling 137, representing a very solid month after a relatively slow start to the calendar year in terms of new orders. The manufacturer's order tally was massively boosted thanks to a purchase from Korean Air that included 33 Airbus A350 family aircraft in preparation for that integration of Asiana Airlines. Indigo returned with a purchase for 10 additional A320 Neos. Notably, American Airlines committed to further A321neo jets as well, with 85 units, and Starlux confirmed that they would boost their Airbus fleet with more A330-900s and the purchase of the upcoming A350 freighter. Analysts have warned now for a considerable period the risks associated with not placing an aircraft order now, as popular series are in high demand and delivery slots are rapidly filling up. Major airlines that are capable of ordering planes now are doing so, and they're also returning in sheer numbers to secure their portfolio of aircraft into the late 2020s and early 2030s. They want to make sure that they have enough capacity to meet the forecasted demand and don't need to, say, dip into the leasing market if they don't have to, given the complexities around that. That'll conclude today's aviation news recap. If you have any thoughts, well, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Thanks a bunch for your support here on the channel. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you next time.